we were doing the lacrosse practice drop-off shuffle with this tonight anyway, so yeah.
It's cold here. I know it's like cold down your way too, isn't it? Like for you guys?
Yeah. So it was 80 degrees on Sunday, and then yesterday morning walking the kids to school, it was 32. So
And you're Atlanta? Is that where you're
yeah,
at?
Atlanta. Yeah.
Dang, that's super cold. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't prepped for it.
Because we have homecoming at Mizzou on Saturday. It's gonna be 80 on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, but I did turn the heat on. Like I hadn't turned the heat on. I was like freezing. But this afternoon it got too low. It was 59 in the house. I'm like, I am
Oh
freezing.
no.
My hands were cold. I'm like, I am a 48-year-old guy. Like I make enough money to turn on the heat. Like I'm not gonna, because I'm like, why am I turning on the heat? It's gonna be, in a couple days, it's gonna be 75 again. But
I know you're more stubborn than I am.
Yeah.
I had it at 68 today. I was like, no, it's time for a little bit. I got to put a little bit of heat on.
And I texted Mallory. She was like, I saw she was on the bus on Find My Friends on the way home from school. I was like, okay, I turned on. She's been complaining. I turned on the heat. She's like, yes.
Prepped it for you. Yeah.
I was like, it's nice and cozy. It's on 69, but it's, at least it's not 59 like it was. So,
yeah, exactly.
Anyhow, all right. So let's see here. I gotta close Twitter because I can't read that. I get distracted. That's not good to have going during a live.
I know. I would not. Yeah. I had my notes like pulled up or like what our plans were at least pulled up just so I could like look at it. And I'm like, oh gosh, I better not do that too much. I'll get distracted by it.
Yeah, totally. I know. And I got I put my phone like off to the side because people, no kidding. As soon as I go live, and my dad knows like when I record, I've only done this show for like 15 years. He knows I do it on Wednesday nights and on Monday nights. The only time my dad will call is like during the show. My dad's always on Facebook. I'm like, I'm live on Facebook when you call, you fool. Like, how do you not know I'm live? And it's the same time since 2008. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, why are you blowing up my phone? Anyway,
I'm assuming the dog will probably interrupt and jump on the couch and bark and she loves to do that. Conference call time comes around and it's like Maddie on cue.
See, eventually I'm going to have an office because Paige moved all her furniture out 2 weeks ago. So soon I'm actually going to have, because this is actually just the basement.
Yeah.
Where I'm at. Like this is a fake, this little backdrop I bought on Amazon. Like there's a couch right here.
Yeah.
So I'm in the main area of the basement, but like I'm one step closer to actually, after 15 years of doing this show, having a room with a door that I can close so the dog doesn't walk in and people just stroll through. So I'm like, because it's so so yeah, no, but Riley will walk through too, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. I got relegated my office to the my husband already had an office downstairs and then I started working from home and I got relegated to the playroom. So we have like Legos galore and like
that's what mine looks like. I pull that out but the couch is facing the wrong way.
Yep.
So it's not too bad. Yeah. All right. So hello to Lisa. Roll Tide. Smackdown Outdoors. 47 in Minnesota, man. It's good. What is it here? It's 48 here in St. Louis right now, according to my task bar.
Okay. Oh, it's a balmy 52 is what I see for us. Yeah.
The heat's coming to Minnesota, I guess.
I know. I was not. We were sitting at lacrosse practice for my son yesterday, and I was not prepped for 50-degree weather. And then as soon as the sun goes down, it is just freezing.
Yeah, Mallory had a football game to cheer on Monday night. And, oh man, it was so cool. And they were winning. It was 55-0 in the second quarter. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, why does this team just lead? Like, it's not varsity. It is 55-0 in the second quarter. This thing has been decided. I am freezing. Come home and just watch Monday Night Football on the couch. Like, this is nuts.
Yep.
Hey, okay, so we are going to get going. Fulton, hey, have fun down in Tennessee. Be careful if you're in Knoxville. Those people are still probably crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Don't do anything to make yourself look like a goalpost or else you'll get carried around the town and maybe end up in the river. Just be careful. And Lisa, I'm sorry I brought it up. That's my fault. Roll Tide. Okay, so see, I know my audience. I know who's I know about my audience. I know where everybody's allegiances fall. Like Lisa, Roll Tide, Roll Tide. We know. She's a Mobile. Okay, so sound settings. So yeah, this is gonna come out on Monday. So, but you know how it goes. Like the thing everybody kind of enjoys the most, like the stories.
Yeah.
More like we did this, we did this, we did this, because you have stories. So, but we'll start off with like going to Walt Disney World for this like 10,
Yeah.
and then we'll dive into the other stuff. So
Sounds good.
set you up. All right, here we go. Wait, what number? That's always the thing. I forget. After all these shows, 2177. All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 2177 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend wherever the show finds you. We are coming off a big homecoming weekend at Mizzou. So, I'm hoping that my Tigers had a win, considering we played Vanderbilt. But if not, I'm very sad here on this Monday because that's probably our last legitimate chance at a win this year. But anyway, this is not the college football show, even though it could be. That's what we do on Sunday nights when Scott's with me. But we're going to talk Disney today, and you're going to get a double dose. We're going to talk some Walt Disney World and Disney Cruise Line. And somebody was asking me the other day on Twitter, hey, can you make these trip reports more current? So yes, we can. We're going to talk about a cruise that happened during a little event a few weeks back called Hurricane Ian. So we're going to hear about what happens when you are down in Florida or sailing with Disney Cruise Line when a tropical system moves through. So to do that, we have a special guest here today from Atlanta, Georgia, the land of Ricky and Brian. We have Courtney. What's up, Courtney?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just saying, I've never been to Ricky's house, but I watch her on Find My Friends because that's how I know like when she gets home, so I can send her the link to get recording. And I know she lives in a place called Sugar Hill, so stay away from the
Okay.
Sugar Hill area. That's where she's hanging.
Yeah, she'll know. I'm farther away from her. We're on the other side, in Marietta, so she'll know where that is. But yeah.
When people bring up Marietta, I always have a claim to fame for Marietta because I was going to ask you like what your small town is known for, but I have a story for Marietta. Back in my first year of college, I was speed skating around the country, right? Inline speed skating because it was in the 90s and that was all the rage. And I won a big race in Marietta, Georgia, inline short track speed skating at a skating rink called Sprinkles. It was over Thanksgiving weekend. And the only thing I remember is a bunch of us drove down in a motorhome from St. Louis with the owner of our skating rink. And it was over Thanksgiving weekend. And we were like, we had to have turkey for Thanksgiving. But back then, everything was closed on Thanksgiving. We should have gone to Cracker Barrel. It was open.
I was going to say Cracker Barrel always.
Right. We thought about it after we did this. We ended up having Subway sandwiches that were turkey, because I was like, we gotta have turkey. But we had a Subway sandwich. But I did, we stayed at that big Marriott, I guess, right there by the interstate. And we love Marietta.
We used to have birthday parties there growing up all the time. You got your roller skating birthday parties, straight up 90s.
I'm telling you, man, I can tell you some skating stories. But so Marietta, though, anything else that town's known for that maybe folks would like to know about your kind of corner of the world?
No, so I've been listening, and I knew you had been asking people this recently, and I was like, oh man, what is Marietta? And I figured the most pertinent thing for us is probably they've started filming all these different movies in Atlanta. And all of the Marvel films, or not all of them, sorry, recent Marvel films have been filmed kind of all over northwest Atlanta, and then in downtown too. So it's been kind of cool to see different places in all of Winter Soldier, Endgame, Spider-Man, Homecoming. There was a bunch of them that were filmed kind of around here, and so you can see downtown and some of the different like museums and stuff like that filmed kind of all around us. So
that'd be crazy, watching like a major motion picture. That's where we go to the grocery store.
I know. I can never catch him live, but at least you can see him on screen.
Like, have you ever seen, like Thor, like buying a watermelon, at Piggly Wiggly or whatever it is, kind of bizarre. Anyway, okay, so let's hop into your trip because we got so much to talk about. So you guys, lay the groundwork. How'd this trip come together, and when did you guys go down? Like, when did you first put this trip together?
Oh my gosh. Well, very long story, but we were supposed to be going on a cruise in 2020. Obviously, COVID happened.
Yeah,
I
you know what? That's
think,
how every one of our shows has started for the last
yeah,
years. It feels like I'm not kidding. Like at least the last three, everybody's like, "Well, it was
yeah,
supposed to, man, 2020 was going to be a booming year because everybody's trip
I'm
report
telling
starts
you.
exactly like that."
Yeah, so this was either third or fourth time's a charm of rescheduling this cruise, and we were going with our friends. Hi, Kalan and Laura. If I believe they're listening, but and so you helped us book this together with them. Um, but it was our kids' fall break for both of their schools, and they're kind of one of our other Disney families. And so after we went on our last cruise, seemingly a million years ago now, we said, hey, wouldn't it be fun to go together? And so all of us, there's the 4 adults, and then we had 5 kids that are 8 or 9, 8, 6, 5, and almost 2. And so we got a bunch of kids that are all about the same age that we wanted to go down together with. And we hadn't been to the parks. My family hadn't been to the parks in a year-ish, which is a long time for me. But
Yeah.
and so I wanted to get down. We tacked on that at the beginning, and we're supposed to be doing it at the end, but the hurricane messed up our plans there. Um, and then my husband actually had a conference in Orlando after, and so it was this big kind of parks, cruise, conference, logistical fun.
Hey, we figure it out, we make it happen, and that's
Yeah.
what happens. Okay, so again, this trip was postponed, but it finally comes together.
Yeah,
What the irony in all this, like,
right.
with the hurricane after
I know.
all the other stuff that you had waded through. I just kind of connected the dots there.
Yeah.
So I will we'll get into the 'cause I got a couple things I want to bring up about, the kids on the cruise and going with
Yeah.
friends and stuff like that. But first of all, you guys were in Atlanta.
Mhm.
So you that's one of the advantages of being, in proximity of Florida is that you guys were able to drive down to Florida, and you went to Walt Disney World first, right? So you stayed there and kind of took advantage of a couple days in the parks, I think, before the cruise.
Yeah, yeah, we did drive down. It's probably 7 hours from where we live, so it's not terrible. We actually enjoy having a car, at Disney as well. Just we kind of mix and match driving to the parks in the morning, taking the bus back or monorail, whatever makes sense, back to the hotel in the afternoon or evening. So that's kind of nice. And so yeah, we drove down. We stayed at Coronado beforehand for a few days, and we were, like I said, we were supposed to be going 2 days to the parks before and then 2 days after the cruise, but we spent Friday evening after we got there, got some pool time in, and my husband and I were watching the hurricane, going, okay, so if we don't get to go to the parks afterwards, what do we want our plans to be?
Right. Right.
So
Smart though. I mean, smart. You were kind of, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, I think everybody, I was as a travel agent, and I'm sure you were as a guest, and everybody was at Walt Disney World. Everybody's playing armchair meteorologist
oh
because
yeah,
you have to, you had to be fluid in your plans, right? So is that what you did? You modified and went with like, okay, we're just gonna make sure we do exactly what we want on the front end of this in case the back end falls apart.
exactly. Yeah. So my daughter had just gotten above the 44-inch mark. And so she was dying to go on all of the rides that she had not been able to do the last time. So it was Everest, Space Mountain. There was another one or two in there. But um, anyway, so we wanted to make sure that we hit those on the front end just in case we didn't go back. So thank goodness we have park hoppers because we ended up at 3 parks on both days
Nice.
that we were there. Um, so yeah, we started off at Epcot on our first day, and wanted to do Guardians of the Galaxy, which I loved. And I'm a roller coaster person. Our whole family is. I thought that ride was just awesome. I know I've heard some people are like, it's fine, it's cool, or they get motion sick, but oh my gosh, I would have ridden it over and over again. I thought it was awesome.
What song did you get?
We got disco.
Go
There was some
Inferno.
disco song. Yep, Disco Inferno. Yeah.
See, I like it. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice. I was gonna ask if you rode that because it's like the new hotness and big
Oh
fan.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got off it and my daughter was like jumping up and down, like, let's do it again. And I was like, well. This is the one that we can't do again.
Yeah, no, and that's always how it is, right? It's like the
Yeah,
kids never like, It's a Small World or, Jungle Cruise or something.
yeah,
Let's
exactly.
do it again. We can do it all day. No. Let me ask you this. Okay, so you guys were really jumping around and getting in and getting out. What were the crowds like? Because and what was the energy like in the theme parks? Because you were kind of watching the weather and anticipating what was happening. But and again, I was there in 2004 when Hurricane Charlie passed over the Walt Disney World Resort. It was still Category 2 at that time. And I just remember that everybody was talking about it in lines, and we were in restaurants. You talk about it with your server. Was it kind of that case? I'd imagine it was really that case on the cruise ship, but in Walt Disney World, was there like a buzz going around and people talking about it you saw in the theme parks, or no? Was it kind of
Uh, so we were still thinking that we were a few days out, and actually, because I was texting the family that we were going on the cruise with, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you watching this hurricane?" And we're like, "Yeah." At that point, it still looked like it was going kind of farther south. It was not
Mhm.
going to kind of hook back around. So we thought maybe we'll be safe. And it wasn't supposed to hit for a couple of days. So there, it wasn't, you would hear talk every now and then of, yeah, well, the hurricane this or the hurricane that, but it wasn't, really a focus, I didn't think. And actually the crowds weren't too bad. We had been at our fall break, and it's the last week of September was our fall break, and so that's when we were there. Um, and the crowds were not bad at all. And we're early birds. We like to go get a few hours done when the crowds are still pretty low, and then kind of skip the middle of the day and take a break. And that seemed to work really well crowd wise. I don't know that we waited longer than half an hour for anything.
Good deal.
And yeah, and we were trying to, like I said, knock out as much as we could.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that's huge because like you guys are really in a time crunch because you're
Yeah,
basically trying to. I mean, think about it. You're trying to condense like two like short weekend trips into one.
yeah, yeah.
Right? Kind of thing. Let me ask you this though, with your park time, because I want to make sure we get enough time for the cruise to really dive into that. But you guys did all these parks and you were hopping around. Um, did you learn anything from that? Because there's transportation hacks and there's time that you lose in transition from the
Mhm.
Magic Kingdom to Epcot to the studios, over to the Animal Kingdom, stuff like that. I mean, looking back on that, do you think you did that efficiently? Is there anything you'd like to share with folks that maybe get in a situation like this where you have very limited time, but you really want to maximize as many attractions as you can do?
Yeah, and I think, like I said, we had the luxury of having a car there, which was made it a lot easier in the morning for us and just quicker. We'd get out. I think we were trying to get to the parks about an hour before the actual opening time. So I guess that was half an hour before the early morning hours. And so we ended up with a great parking spot. And then, you pretty much walk through security. It's not too bad there. And then when you go to leave in the afternoon, we would drive back to the resort, and your car's right up front and ready to go. And then we would bus around kind of in the afternoon and evening. And we didn't really have too much trouble with it, even at Coronado. The only time that we did kind of gauge what was the best options was transportation wise, and maybe this is something to think about for folks that are going from Magic Kingdom to Epcot. um, we were there on a party night, and we needed to get Space Mountain in just in case we couldn't go back. So we did that and had to be out by 6 o'clock. And so we left. The monorail line was insane to go to the Ticket and Transportation Center, but we walked right on a ferry to get there. And so just think about the fact that you don't necessarily need to be on the monorail the entire time from Magic Kingdom to Epcot.
True.
But yeah, the ferry was just like taking on people like crazy. And
That is
so
gigantic, and plus,
yeah,
I think it's always everybody's second choice. Yeah,
exactly. But we figured we had a monorail ride into Epcot, so we were like, "Hey,
seriously, I mean, it's
we'll
an extra
ferry
mode.
there."
I
Yeah.
try to do as many different forms of transportation I can get, big boats, little boats,
Oh
monorails,
yeah.
Skyliner, whatever I can get.
Yep.
That's a great tip. So let me ask you real quick though, Coronado, what did you think? What did the kids think? Was it someplace you would go back to?
Oh, we love Coronado. We've that's kind of our go-to.
Same.
We stay. I know. I've stayed in the tower with on an adult trip just with my husband once, and that I love the tower. I want to get back to a room there soon, but we were in the ranchos and had not stayed there before. It was nice. The quiet pool there was closed, which was kind of a bummer because it was really close to our room. But we ended up not having a ton of pool time anyways because we were trying to squeeze it all in at the park. So their pool is amazing. The kids love it. So yeah, we keep coming back there and water sliding, and
Yeah.
the food is excellent. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
can't complain.
got great dining on site, and the dig site pool is just outstanding.
Oh
It's
yeah,
and the poolside bar there, siestas or whatever. Oh man,
they make a good margarita. Yeah.
they make a good margarita, and they have great well the little cheesy that look like burritos. What are they?
Oh
Empanadas. Man, have
yes,
order of empanadas in a margarita. That is, I'm in heaven at the pool.
yeah.
Sign me up. Okay, so what? Speaking of food, real quick though, before we get to the cruise, what was your best meal that you had pre-cruise at Walt Disney World?
Ooh, we yeah, so we hit the usuals. Satuli Canteen at Animal Kingdom is one of our favorites. We always try and go there. We went to Brown Derby for the first time. It was good.
So,
Um,
give me a quick review of that because again, that's one of the places I have never been because it's signature, so it's going to be a little bit on the pricey side, and
mhm.
it just for me it doesn't have a hook. You know what I'm saying? Like I've gone to 50s because it's got the the kitschy
Yep.
50 vibe. I go to sci-fi because it's a drive-in. I go all these other like Brown Derby. Just it's like it's a restaurant. I know
Yeah,
it's kind of the
and
old like Hollywood kind of feel, but
I kind of felt like that too. Well, and I wanted the Cobb salad because I knew that that was
I've
their
heard that.
thing.
Yeah, I want that too.
Um, so we went in. My husband and I actually split that and an appetizer, I think. And the portions were giant. And it actually, with the salad, it was reasonably priced. I was actually shocked when we got the bill. I was like, oh yeah, I was thinking signature.
Nice.
But it was a nice break, I'll say, from the heat just to be inside, and the food was good. Um, Probably not our very favorite, but maybe one of the best or the better at Hollywood Studios, I guess, is how I would rate it.
The problem with Hollywood Studios, a lot of times I'll just hop on the Skyliner and go over to Riviera or to
Yeah.
Caribbean Beach or something,
Yep.
something there. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a try because I've never done it. And the Cobb salad. I've heard about it for a couple decades, probably.
Yeah.
Never had it.
It was good. It was good.
Okay, I'm
Um,
doing it next time then.
Now, and I will say for anybody that likes to do kind of food and wine or the festivals, one of the nights we went and saw Harmonious because we hadn't seen it yet, and our kids were getting hangry, so we needed to get them food. So we went. This was when we were coming from Magic Kingdom to Epcot, and we walked in, got them food at Connections Eatery, I think is what it's called. And they just got, chicken fingers or whatever. And my husband and I wanted to do some more food and wine, but we knew they weren't going to last. And so that was really nice. We sat down and got a drink. They ate their chicken fingers or whatever. And then we kind of planted the family down at a spot for Harmonious. And then either my husband or I would go out and get some food at the food booths, come back, and we kind of snack. So it was kind of a nice way to do
Good
food and
idea.
wine.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good way to parent right there. Because I've been there, man. I remember this was back in the day when there was still McDonald's at Epcot. Like I think it was on New Year's Eve. We were camping out for eliminations, the tag, and I remember my mother-in-law went with us that trip, and I remember like sitting there with Paige, and like Pam would run and get a snack because we had a really good spot, and then then I would
Yep.
have to go do the running because like I wanted fish and chips and nobody else eats fish, so like but Mallory wasn't around. Paige wanted fries from the McDonald's place, the refreshment port.
Oh
It
yeah.
was a mess. But okay, let me ask you this though: first time seeing Harmonious, rate it 1 to 10. What did you think?
Um, we actually really liked it. I would give it maybe an 8. I think those, and I was listening to one of the shows on my run this morning, and the taco barges that people were those I agree, those can go. I'm not into that. It kind of spoils it during the day too, the views. But I thought the show was wonderful. And I don't know, there's something about the fireworks at Epcot. They just kind of explode everything, I feel like, at the end, and it's so easy to get a good spot. And
I do like
uh
I do like this.
compared
Yeah, all
yeah,
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the night before we tried to see the enchantment at Magic Kingdom, and it was not magical. There were just a million people, and we actually, my son was like, "Can we just leave?" And we were like halfway through the show, and we're like, "Yes, yes, we
Yes.
can. It's too many people." And so Harmonious just we had a great night, and it was a core memory night. I told my husband we were walking out.
I love that. Yeah, I love that that idea of a core memory night. That's
Yeah.
perfect. You know what? And that's a great call. You know what? There's just some fireworks or evening extravaganzas that are easier to do than
Yep.
others. And you know, World Showcase Lagoon, you can see that from a million different spots and
Oh
get a
yeah.
decent viewing of the show pretty much anywhere. Not a perfect viewing, but decent. Magic Kingdom, especially now with the projections, you have a limited
Yep.
angle, you know, and now with Fantasmic returning on November 3rd, you know, that's one of those I love the show, but it's a lot of work to get in and out of
I
that
know.
theater. You know, like it seems like it's really easy until you actually start like walking back towards there and they start like jamming you in like cattle. And I mean, it's worth it because I love the show, but man, it's a lot of work.
I
I just
know.
started
I
thinking
know.
about I haven't thought about that for like 2 years. I'm like, oh yeah, Fantastic Fantastic. I'm like, oh man, when I get in there on a hot summer night, man, you're jammed in there waiting for the show.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
let's talk cruising because it's been
Yes.
chilly in the Midwest, and I want to talk about being on a cruise ship. So you also combine this with a Disney Wish cruise, like you said, with your friends. Let me jump into that because you said you went with friends.
Mhm.
I have always said this about cruising, and I 100% believe this that cruising is awesome no matter when you get to go, especially with Disney Cruise Line, no matter what. Cruising, Disney Cruise is my favorite Disney vacation, bar none. And I loved Disneyland this summer. I mean, I fell in love with Disneyland, but Disney Cruise Line still takes it. However, cruising with friends takes the cruise experience for me and multiplies it by at least 10 because there's so many opportunities on a cruise ship to do stuff with your friends that you'll make so, like you said, core memories. You'll have stories forever when you get home, you know, like match your mate down in the adult area one night. You know, if you do that with your friends, you get home, you're talking about that forever. You know, playing bingo or sports trivia or watching the diaper dash or running, you know, the 5K on Keswick, whatever it is. There's so many opportunities to do things with your friends and with groups that I think cruising is a very fun thing to do with extended family, with friends when you get that opportunity. So did you kind of feel that now that you've sailed with friends?
Oh, yeah, for sure, especially if you're gonna unexpectedly be stuck on a ship for a week with rainy weather. Yeah, we were joking at the end where we were like, "Oh my gosh, thank goodness we were together and the kids had, you know, their buds. Otherwise, that ship would have felt really small, I think." But
Right.
no, we loved it, and we yeah, it was fun to do things as the 4 adults. It was fun to be, you know, watching a movie on the pool deck, all 9 of us. The moms went out and got drinks one night. It was just it's fun to be with friends like that.
It
Um,
is. It is.
like I said, especially when maybe you're inside more than you were expecting.
Exactly. That's yeah. I mean, there's a worse place to be than on a Disney Cruise Line ship,
Oh
but I
gosh,
I
yeah.
get it 'cause you're not expecting it. But yeah, that's why I love our podcast cruises. I mean, everybody becomes there's something about being on a cruise ship. Like you can become fast friends with
Oh
strangers,
yeah.
folks you've never met. Like by the end of a like my wait staff, every time I go on a cruise, like by the
Yes.
time it's breakfast, you know, the morning you got to get off the ship, I'm like, I can't leave you. Like,
I know.
how am I gonna eat like lunch at the airport? Like, nobody's gonna give me my napkin. You know, how am I gonna put the napkin in my lap? You know, it's like I want to cry. Like, it's so weird. The cruising environment is just everything's like hyperbolic. Like it's like hyper fun. It's like hyper. You make
Yes.
relationships quickly. I mean, if you've never cruised, you got to do it to understand. But it's pretty amazing. So okay, let's kind of take it from the top. You guys are over at Walt Disney World. You drive to the port.
Yep.
Let's talk about arrival at the port, embarkation, stuff like that. Because again, there's probably a nervous energy with all this possible Ian's.
Yeah, yeah, and that's when so Ian had started to turn now, so we were hoping that we were just gonna sail out of it, and then we were like, "This is gonna be the bougie experience most bougie experience ever. We're gonna go out from Walt Disney World, there's gonna be a hurricane there, and we're gonna come back, and it's gonna be sunshine."
Right. No kidding.
Yeah, it didn't go quite that way, but yeah, it was super smooth getting in. We ended up now check-in, you know, 30 days in advance was kind of a nightmare. You got to stay up till midnight, and then the systems were down, and we were trying to get an early port arrival time. But we ended up, our friends and us had port arrival times like 15 minutes apart. And we were at 11:30 or 11:45. So that was about perfect. We figured we'd get in and grab lunch and then, get some pool time in and stuff like that. And security, parking, all of that was a breeze. We had to wait maybe half an hour, like in the actual port building before we could get on the ship. Everything was really easy. We did skip the like family picture that you can get right before you get on the ship.
I do the same thing
because there's a big line. Yeah.
Don't have time for that picture, man. I
I
got to have
know.
5 more minutes on the ship.
I know.
That's
Exactly.
There's like 3 people in line. Like, nope, don't have time for that picture. I know what my family looks like.
I know, right? I was like, we're gonna have plenty of pictures on the ship.
That's
Bye.
what I say. I got my iPhone 14. We're good. Let's go. Selfies all
Exactly.
around. Yeah, so what were the kids saying? Like upon arrival, like when you pull, to me, there's nothing like, because we always drive over to the port usually. Because we've taken on podcast cruises, we've rented like a minibus a couple of times with like Scott's family or Pam's family. And there's nothing like kind of going over that hump there. Is you're like on the causeway or whatever that road is, and you start to see the smokestacks there, the cruise ships, and it's like, oh man, there's the boat. It's actually in port. I can't believe it. We're getting on this thing in an hour or two. What were the kids? I mean, I bet you they were just like out of their minds, right? Or were they not?
They were. Oh no, they were super pumped. And we had been talking about this. I mean, obviously it was a year plus 2 years in the making, and so they'd been so excited to get on this ship. And we had been watching YouTube videos and showing them the kids club, and they were pumped to hang out with their friends on the ship and see what all they could do. And so yeah, as soon as we were driving over the bridge, they were like, the ship, and you see the Mickey and the
pictures while driving. I'm like, it's not safe, but I can't help it. Like,
I know. So they were super excited, and we unplanned, but ended up pulling in like right as our friends were getting there too. We figured we'd meet them on the ship, once everybody had been checked in. And so it was perfect. They all got hyped up, sitting at the port, waiting to get on the ship. And it was great timing. So.
Okay. So let's talk about a ride. Disney Cruise Line does arrival on when you actually step across onto the boat better than anybody. They really welcome you on. I mean, they treat you like, this is how I want to walk out of my bedroom every morning, like to go to work. I work from home, like go to work. I walk out of my, kitchen into the, go down the steps to my computer. I got a whole 50-foot commute. But I would love that if every morning, somebody's on a microphone, like, here comes Mike Rallman, welcome to Tuesday, but they make you like, you're just amped up because they welcome you onto the ship. You're in that huge, beautiful atrium. There's all kinds of people cheering you on. And then, like you said, you go to a buffet, you go have, lunch, you go on the aqueduct, you can do whatever you want. So give us kind of that first, before sail away. Cause it's kind of chaotic because a lot of times your stateroom's not ready and you're just like, you got so many things you want to do, but you really don't know what you exactly are going to do until dinner.
Yeah. And we got on, like you said, they announce your family. They have magic wands or wishing wands that they gave out to whoever wanted them. And then they have, it seemed like every half hour, an hour, there was kind of like a wish. You grant a wish on the ship, or make dreams come true, and all the lights go off in the atrium and kind of come down the chandelier, and there's a storyteller out that kind of leads that, and then there was a prince and a princess. I believe it was Princess Tiana and Prince Naveen that were kind of up in the balcony in the atrium. And it's just like when you walk into anything Disney and you got that like goofy smile, because it's just so happy. Like you said, it's just, you just feel so like pumped to be there, and everybody's happy, and it's
like you almost got to pinch yourself because like you've been looking forward to it for so long, and like you look down at your feet and you're actually on the ship. It's weird. So now you were obviously on the Disney Wish, the newest ship in the Disney Cruise Line fleet, but you had been on the Dream before, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's so the atrium was beautiful, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show. My husband and I kept like comparing and contrasting, and what did we like better, and what was different, and it didn't seem as kind of grand as the Dream atrium, but everything, and this probably carries throughout the ship, but everything seemed like a little bit brighter. It was all more like bright blues and whites, and it felt a little bit more modern. Obviously, it's brand new, so that is it's the way that it should be. But yeah, the Dream was more kind of nautical and navies and reds and all of that. And so yeah, it was a different feel. But gorgeous ship. The staircase in the atrium was beautiful as well. It just, yeah, it seemed a little bit smaller or less grand or something like that than what we remembered from the Dream.
You see, I've yet to be on the Wish. Hopefully here very soon. Obviously, we're doing our podcast cruise in July on the Wish. And I'm just excited to try something different. Now, but my problem is, man, I am so in love with my favorite of the Dream and the Fantasy. Like, I love
Mhm.
the bigger ships. I love the way they're laid out. But I mean, again, something new, different variety, because I know that the Wish is very different than the other 4 ships. And I'm excited to check it out. But I have heard exactly that. I've heard a lot of pros and cons,
Yep.
as far as, veteran cruisers. And that's fine, because the thing is, like, you could use the Wish and, sail on it here, do the Fantasy, the Magic, the Wonder, go to all these exotic. That's a great thing about cruise ships, is that it gives you a lot of variety. So I'm going to ask you at the very end, kind of to sum that up. Let me ask you about sail away, and then the first dinner and the first day, and also your stateroom. How did that work out for you?
Yeah, so we got on the ship, and we had packed bathing suits and stuff in our carry-on, so that we knew that we wanted to go grab lunch. We like to sit down at lunch, and then change into swimsuits, and the kids were going to have some pool time and try and get on the Aquamouse, which it was down actually when we first got on, but we ended up being able to ride it later. Don't forget sunscreen and flip-flops in your carry-on. I did. And so our kids were walking around. We borrowed our friend's sunscreen, but they were walking around in their tennis shoes at the pool. So pro tip.
Because that pool deck is like, it's like hot. It's that game,
Oh,
Hot
yes.
Lava. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you, because I remember riding the Aqueduct on all the other ships, and I mean, you have to walk, back around to get back to the steps. And I swear the Disney Cruise Line heats that surface of that deck
Oh
to
my
like
gosh.
700 degrees to separate the men from the boys. Like, they're
Yep.
trying to keep the line down, because it's like, okay, do you want to sacrifice like the first layer of your skin? Okay, I will. Okay, let's go.
Yep.
It's so hot.
Yeah. So we had some pool time, and then we kind of sat down for the sail away party, and it was, I mean, we weren't wildly early, and there was plenty of room up front. Everybody was super nice at all of the shows, actually, about letting the kids. Probably the first 2 or 3 rows were just kids. The kids would kind of sneak through. And man, the shows on the Wish, were awesome. The Sail Away show was amazing. It got everybody just super pumped. And then as soon as you hear the whistle blow, it's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
that
so
gets
great.
me talking about it. Like, when that happens, you're just like, oh, because when you're in Port Canaveral, you're just like, yeah, I'm on the good ship.
Yep. Yep.
I hate to say that, 'cause I've sailed on Royal Caribbean out of Port Canaveral too, but like their horns are just like,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, my horn plays music. Get out of here. Look at my ship in 30 years. Yours is white.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we sailed away, and I think it's pretty soon. We were the first dinner seating because we had the little ones, and so we assumed that was probably, and that worked out well, because still we could get the littlest to bed not too late. Um, but we, I think, just went and changed and then went down for dinner, and we had dinner at 1923 was the first night. So that was like kind of this serious restaurant. Um,
Yes.
the food was very good there, though. The kids probably liked it the least out of, but they're competing against Avengers and Frozen.
Yeah, I
So
mean, as the universe should go, like, you liked it. You said the food was outstanding. The kids are going to be like, "Bleh."
yeah. We ended up, because it got extended a couple of days, we ended up eating there again. And you talk about your wait staff. We had an incredible service team. And Carlos was our head server, and he was amazing. If you guys are on the Wish and get him, Carlos from Peru. We asked him, we went back there and asked him, we were like, Carlos, the kids want to go to the kids club, bring their food out as quickly as possible. The grownups are going to stay and we're going to have a long dinner, but we're getting the kids out of here. And man, they got him in and out. The kids were old enough to check themselves into the kids club. And I'll tell you, any parents that want to implement that plan, it was lovely. We had a nice long dinner afterwards at the grown-up restaurant. And that was a nice way to do that one when the kids weren't super pumped to go back there.
That is a great tip. That is a great.
Yeah.
That's why I love doing these shows, because we have a lot of folks that are considering cruises, never been on them, and they might not have even known that was an option. The kids can check, at certain ages, check
Yep.
themselves in, check themselves out with parental permission. You got to sign a sheet. Let me ask you this. So we'll hop into is more sequential throughout the cruise. What did the kids think overall of the kids' activities, the kids' clubs, with the stuff going on there? Was it something that you had to pry them out of, or was it something they, wanted to spend time with you guys 50-50? What were the thoughts?
It was a little bit of both, actually. So they wanted to spend, we did the open house the first day just to kind of see, and the grownups wanted to see it too. And it was pretty sweet.
Did anybody go down the slide? Because there's that awesome slide.
I can't remember if the husbands did. We were carrying John. I wanted to, but
on the podcast cruise, I'm totally, even
yeah.
if I can't, I'm just going to, put me in Disney.
Yeah. Oh, the kids, they would purposefully go up to that floor so that they could go down the slide. They loved it. But yeah, and it was so cute. All of the details in there were the little like princess area with the library. There was art, like a little art room, the Imagineering space. So my husband and I there's Georgia Tech stuff behind us. We're both engineers. And so we were sitting there and we're like, can we do all the Imagineering activities? Nice. And you could do my son, I think, had built as many roller coasters as you could, where you kind of select your tracks and stuff, and then you get to sit, and it plays the roller coaster you design plays on the screen in front of you. And so they had a really good time doing that. I think they spent an entire day working on roller coasters. On the second day, we did have to pry them out of the kids club.
And now we know where Cyberspace Mountain ended up from Disney Quest.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So they loved it. The Star Wars area was so cool. There's a lot of switches and knobs and things to turn and stuff that happens in there, and some iPads with games that are connected to kind of some of the stuff around the room. The trick is figuring out when it's not going to be super crowded, and so the kids could have more time to do that. Which dinner time, again, the early dinner time, that's why they wanted to go back was to do the Avengers piece, where you got to design your own suit and all of that. I guess that was crowded a lot, but they said there was nobody down at the kids club when we hurried through dinner that one night.
I'm sure, because the parents were like, okay, you have to continue with us, and you can go, but like your kids are smart. They I get my 6 chicken tenders in me, a little couple fries, and I'm out.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, trust me. Okay, so we got to get all this in. So much. You guys, that first night, looks like you went to Hyperspace Lounge.
Yes, yeah. So over the course of the cruise, I think we hit all of the adult kind of bar areas, and there are most of them. Like, we took the kids in Hyperspace Lounge the next day. During the day, you can bring your kids in to see, because we thought they might think it was cool. And it was really cool. They have the like sweet smoke gun that pops a bubble of smoke on top of your drink. And it was a cool space. And ended up not being our favorite. The drink, they didn't have a ton of drinks there that we kind of appealed to us, or my husband's a beer drinker. They didn't have a kind of lot of big beer selection or anything. So we like some of the other bars a little bit better, but the kind of atmosphere was really cool.
So real quick though, what would you say was your favorite adult lounge or bar on the ship?
So there's the Rose was gorgeous. That's the one that's right next to Enchanté, the adult restaurants. And you can go up there. We didn't have a reservation for the restaurant or anything, but you can still go up there. It is like floor to ceiling glass, and just beautiful. They had great cocktails. I'm a wine drinker. They had a good selection of wine. And it was just like a nice, quiet place. And so we went there a couple of times. And then we ended up at Tiana's Bayou and Keg and Compass. Tiana's Bayou was kind of in the middle of the ship. It was right kind of outside the atrium and just sort of open. And that was a good place to go. And then the Keg and Compass is sort of like the pub. And so, yeah, if you wanted beer, that was a good place to go get it. They had probably the best selection.
Sounds good. Yeah, I want to make sure we hit all these places because that way people have an expectation when they get on the ship because so many people have not been on the Wish yet that they'll have a good idea. Okay, so look, I'm just going to try to get to because we have about 15 minutes. I want to try to get all this in. So let's talk about the activities that you could do on board as far as like the fun stuff that you could do as a group that you know like the trivias and the diaper dashes and that kind of stuff. What were some of the things you participated like with the cruise director staff, stuff like that?
Yeah, we did. We ended up doing a lot of that, and they added a lot of that in for the extra 2 or 3 days that we were on the ship. So we did a lot more than we were thinking we were going to be able to. We watched karaoke a couple of times, which was super fun, and then our kids got up and did karaoke and did "We Don't Talk About Bruno," which was adorable. Nice. We and they had crafts like family crafts, adult craft time, kids craft time. That was one of the things that I think they threw in quite a bit of when we were on board in the rain. And so it was
like a big like glass box. It is like with a bunch of craft stuff from like Michael's and just says
oh my gosh,
hurricane break glass, and all it is like little fuzzy things and glue and like
oh yeah. Oh, there was glitter glue. There was, yeah. No, they had it. You could make kind of buttons or pins that you color your own, and they'd turn it into a button. We made like a little kind of drawstring backpack. The kids like traced characters on it. There was a bunch of good stuff that they did to kind of fill in the time there. One of our favorite things was the Incredibles obstacle course, the Hero Zone, maybe it was called. So we ended up, I mean, the dads were racing. I raced my daughter. It was like a tournament of, elimination. It's the NCAA tournament going on. Who's fastest?
Competition is awesome. I love that.
Yeah. And it was super fun. We thought we were going to crush the kids. And there's this little area of kind of like a coil that you had to run through, and the kids would just zoom through it, and every adult would get stuck.
Yeah. Not fair.
Yeah. But we had so much fun doing that, and then going and playing ping pong and stuff right outside. So that was fun. And at that same area, there was a silent disco. There's a family silent disco and an adult one, where, you get the headphones and turn to whatever music. And I had a blast doing that. And we were dancing around with the kids, and that was super fun. The videos are hilarious of that too.
That's what I was going to say. Silent discos are awesome in the moment. But then when you get like, if you ever, this is my pro tip, you have to videotape with your, take your phone out and shoot video of the silent disco.
Yes.
And like, while you're in the moment, it's hilarious. I mean, it is, because everybody's kind of dancing to different, like, what are they dancing to? But if you look, the color's different on their headphones. They're obviously, so maybe they're dancing to country. You're dancing to top 40, somebody else over the court, some couple that's like really drunk, like slow dancing to some song, who knows? But then when you watch the video, like, it is dead silent in there, except for people's sneakers going squeak, 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 and people are
singing and thinking that they're doing a really good job. Yeah.
I go back and watch that video from our last podcast cruise where we had the silent disco, and I crack up every time I watch it, because I mean, just people are just all over the place, and all you hear is squeaky sneakers. Yes. And there's a couple people screaming. That's exactly.
Oh yeah, no, it was so fun. It was so fun. So they did a really good job kind of filling in. And I'll quickly. So we were supposed to be there Monday through Friday. That first or the second night we were watching the aerial show, and they came on and said, "Hey, we're going to be staying on at least until Saturday or Sunday." And maybe not go into Castaway Cay because we don't know how everything's going to be. And they're like, but we're going to fill in all of the entertainment and all of that, and make sure that there's plenty of stuff to do. And they did. And at the end, the following night, they said that we were not coming back for sure until Sunday, but we were going to be able to go to Castaway Key. So everyone was pumped about that.
So did the whole ship like just erupt at once?
Oh,
Like,
yes. It was right before.
I would lose my mind. I'd be like, oh my God, hit the jackpot. Are you kidding?
Yes, it would, and they would do these announcements right before the evening show. And yes, the entire cruise ship was like, yeah, and cheering. Yeah, and so that was very exciting. And then I think they were just kind of like pulling whatever they could in to kind of fill up the days. Cause like I said, it was rainy from the hurricane. We sailed out to somewhere in the Atlantic to kind of escape it. And so we finally got some sunshine, but they knew that we were going to be inside. I'll tell you, and we did this sort of over the course of the cruise, the Uncharted Adventure, it's kind of like the the midship detective agency, the game that's on board. We started playing that once we knew we were going to be on there for a while, and did the Uncharted Adventure game for over probably 3 days. And there's all these different little kind of battles, and you interact in games with different kind of digital pictures all over the ship. That was super fun. It was the pilot, so it was very glitchy, but once we worked through the glitches, that game was super fun. So if you're on a longer cruise or, have bad weather, highly suggest doing that. And then they have this really cool show on like the last day or two of the cruise where you're trying to get the final piece of the wishing star from Ursula, and confetti rains. Mickey and Minnie are there. It was really fun. So I was glad that we got to do that. Filled up a good bit of time, and that last, even if you didn't play the game, the like show at the very end is very cute.
It's a good way to get your steps in too, because you're all over.
Oh my gosh. Right? All over the place. All over the place. Up and downstairs.
I run a midship detective agency with Mallory, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The ship is bigger than I thought. I thought the ship was small.
Yes.
We're everywhere. And I mean, I like to walk, but I'm just like, dude, I'm on vacation. Okay, I want to ask you about this though, because you guys got to preview the Villains Tonight kind of Hollywood Squares new thing they're debuting on this ship. So what did you, I mean, it was the very first time, I think this was the very first performance.
Well, at least that's what they told us, but yeah.
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to have cameras or phones or anything in there. And there was a bunch of people in the back on their laptops and stuff. So I think it was the first time, but yeah, it was another cute show. They had like Kronk and Cruella and Maleficent, a bunch of them, and it was Hollywood Square style, and then two people from the audience.
I love like old game shows, like
oh yeah,
now they're hitting me right there.
Oh yeah,
tic-tac-toe, a little pressure luck. We could do like a whole thing.
Oh yes, and it was fun. It was fun. So I can't imagine that's only for Halloween cruises. I imagine that'll stick around for all of the other ones, but that was super cute. And the kids had fun. The grown-ups had fun. So that was a good one to go to as well.
Okay, couple things. We haven't even talked about Castaway Key. You did get to go to Castaway Key, which was kind of up in the air whether you were going to get to go or not. So how was the day there? I mean, was the weather okay? I see that it's like you guys got off the ship early because you did the 5K.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and so one of the coolest things was the Fantasy was at Castaway Key the day before. And so we actually sailed by the Fantasy and we're like waving from the deck, and they honked their horn and all that. And then the next day, so we just traded places, but yeah, we got off the ship early. The weather was gorgeous. I think the hurricane sucked up all of the rain. And so, the water was beautiful. It was hot, but we didn't really care. We were on land and and in sunshine. So, we got off early. The beach was not crowded at all, which was nice. Again, we're early birds. So we hung with the kids, and the dads ran the 5K. Said it was wildly hot and humid, but we do
the podcast cruise every year in July, and we always do the 5K. And I don't know why we do. I mean, we do it because we have the lizards, right? The running groups. We've like raised money for Give Kids the World, on the 5K there is like the ending kind of run. And I'm telling you what, man, there was because you're running basically through like the jungle on that course on Castaway Key, and you're just like, what is going on? It is so I mean, it is ungodly humid. It is hot. You're just like, and then you're finishing up like on just blacktop on a big airstrip. So it is crazy. But yeah, kudos to the dads for getting out there to run a 5K.
Yeah, and then you get like a little cute little plastic medal at the end, and so they did that and then met us on the beach. Um, and yeah, so Castaway Key was lovely. We did the Pelican Point, I think
Yeah.
it's called. I can't remember the water slide there. Snorkeled around for a little bit, and then the kids went to Scuttle's Cove and did kind of capture the flag. And there were a couple other activities on the kids club on the island, which they thought was fine. But we wanted to go see the Serenity Bay, the adult section, because we hadn't been there. Ever. And so we were like, okay, well, y'all can go there for just a couple hours and we can go check it out. And that water was much rougher. It was wavy, and not what I expect from the Caribbean usually, but the beach was beautiful. So we didn't end up going in, but the kind of scenery was beautiful.
Yeah, we're gonna get to go there on the podcast cruise this time because Mallory's finally old enough. We can leave her to her devices on the island for a little while. She'll be 15, so we are gonna get to go to Serenity Bay, and I'm super pumped for that. So, because I've heard like that bar down there, like the food's way better down there too than like. I mean, I love cookies. Don't get me wrong, cookies,
Yeah.
like my jam. Cookies and cookies too, but I want to give that place a shot down there for lunch.
Yeah. We didn't eat there. We got a couple of drinks. I got a margarita again. And yeah, we got a couple of drinks there, and the bar was nice. And they have like big, like cushy couches or outdoor couches and stuff. And so we just sat there and had a drink before we went and got the kids again, and it was very relaxing and lovely.
In there in July, save
Yes.
me a seat. Okay. We got to wrap this up. But let me ask you a couple things. So stateroom, how did that work out for your family and for the other family? Did the stateroom?
Yeah, I forgot we never got there. Yeah, we were on, I think, deck 7, which was nice. It was kind of in between kids club, pool deck, and so you were never going up more than 4 flights. The staterooms were beautiful. I'll say they've got that over the Dream. Not that the staterooms on the Dream were bad, but everything was just nice and bright, and the bathrooms were lovely too. The glass doors on the shower, which I liked because you don't feel like there's a shower curtain attacking you.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and we just had the regular family suite for 4, and then our friends, they've got 3 kids, and so they had the actual family suite, which has a little bit of extra room. And so that was nice. I walked in there, and it had a little bit of extra room.
Yep.
Right before the veranda. So they were lovely. We really liked it. And, the hallways, everything was different themed. We had a Frozen room, and our friends had a Cinderella room, I believe. And
That's
so
cool.
It was just, they're pretty. Yeah.
That's super cool. Well, I mean, we could talk about this for another couple hours because stories, and I love talking cruise line. But we got to wrap it. But as we do, give us like one like story like that you're gonna leave this cruise with. I mean, obviously, very special with the hurricane. You had an extended cruise, got to, cruise with families. It wasn't exactly what you're expecting. A lot of rainy weather inside, stuff like that. But I mean, is there like one epic story that like you share with your friends? Like, I can't believe it. Maybe something you guys did the adults or as families, something like that.
So, oh gosh. Yeah. So I'll say the pirate night, you want to talk about core memory nights again. The pirate night on this ship was amazing. The show before is like a rock concert. Our kids are like jamming up in the front row, and the adults are singing along. And then you have the fireworks, and then there's like a dance party afterwards. And we were like, oh my gosh, we left that night and it was just amazing. But one of our favorite nights, we told the kids, we were like, okay, if you guys want to have a little bit of time alone, they had decided that they were going to show Hocus Pocus 2. So we gave them one of our phones so that they could text us, and we let them sit in the movie theater by themselves, which they thought was just like the coolest thing. This is the big kids, and they thought that this was like the coolest thing. And the grownups, we all went and we're just, we went to the adult section of the ship and sat at the pool, and the boy, we were just joking around, and it was just, we didn't do anything special, but the kids wouldn't stop talking about it. They thought it was amazing that they got to have their own time. And then it was one of those nights of just like good conversation for 2 hours before we picked up the kids. So it was, yeah, we had a couple of just great nights like that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because when you go to Walt Disney World, you're on vacation, right? And you have a good time and you make core memories there, just like you do on the cruise ship. But the thing is, at Walt Disney World, it seems like you're so busy all the time, right? Especially nowadays with checking my Disney experience, looking Genie Plus reservations. Where's my where's my ADR? Where's my
Mhm.
like what am I doing next? There's a lot of you're always like strategizing, constantly like in a mode of how can I set myself up for success for the next 2 steps of my vacation. Where on a Disney cruise or any cruise really, when you're out to sea, once you actually leave the port and you get out there after your first night, you do kind of you hit a different level of relaxation. And like you said, some of my best memories with Disney Cruise Line, and it's been on the podcast cruises, have been basically just like 11:30, 11:45 at night, sitting by the pizza window right before it closes with friends
Yep.
and just talking about life. I'm not
Yep.
seeing a show. We'd already seen a great show that night earlier in the night. We'd had a great meal. Now we're having ice cream and eating pizza at 11:30 on a Tuesday night. I mean, it's like you're the king of the world at that point.
We were hitting up the pizza place, I think, every night. And you can get a whole pizza. So we would just bring a pizza and set it down at the table. And
That's when like life is so good, because like you think about it like, okay, it's 11:30 on like a Wednesday night. And I'm
yep,
sitting here in the
that's
ocean
what we're like.
with friends, having pizza, having a drink, and just talking about life and making memories. I mean, it's so
Exactly.
special. Yeah, it's very cool.
Exactly. It was great. And yes, all of the stories, I mean, plenty of stories that came out of it, and all of the Halloween entertainment was awesome. The kids went trick-or-treating. My son was Sorcerer Mickey and my daughter was the broom with the water buckets,
Oh,
and
I think
Minnie loved that. Yeah. Oh gosh, it was. And we didn't even talk about Avengers and Arendelle, the restaurants, but they were amazing.
oh,
My son's poking in the background here.
go ahead.
They were amazing.
So real quick,
But yeah,
real quick though, which was your favorite? Would you say out of those two, out of the Frozen or the Avengers?
I think oh gosh, I think the Avengers one, just the whole restaurant kind of environment was awesome. The show was really good, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of come through. And then the food was good too. So we loved being in that restaurant. And then we luckily got to repeat that one for Pirate Night. And they have all of this. It's almost like concept art, like Avengers concept art that's on all of the screens. So they don't do the show multiple times for you, but just like the environment of the restaurant was amazing there. So we loved that one. And then the show at Arendelle was so great, and all the characters coming around to the table. Olaf was melted for our for our show. So we didn't get to see Olaf, but but the rest of the show was awesome.
Apparently, Olaf is not hurricane proof.
Yeah.
Something happened with it. No, I'm excited because I'm kind of a sucker for Frozen because it came out on my birthday. And I remember for my birthday, I took the girls. It was actually on my birthday itself on November 27th is when it came out. And we went with, Paige and Mallory were little. Well, Paige wasn't, but Mallory was little when it came
Yeah.
out. And we went to see it together. And it's like, oh my God, it's two sisters, and it's like,
Yes.
oh, so now that's got like a special place for me. So I'll probably be a mess when we go to that restaurant. It's like, I can't do it. But yeah, I'm excited. You have me so excited to get on the Wish now. I mean, because there's like I said, there's pros. Real quick though, I keep saying we're done, but that's
I know, sorry.
What would you say though? Because you've been on the Dream.
Mhm.
I mean, was there anything like you could tell folks that are comfortable with the other ships? They've sailed the Fantasy, the Dream, the Magic, the Wonder. They've never been on the Wish before, but they're getting ready to. Just something that maybe you'd pass on to them, just maybe positive or negative that you thought.
Yeah, so the ship itself, like I said, is gorgeous. The only thing we just kept coming back to, it's like a little disjointed. There's only and kind of hard to get around. Like even after the week, we were like, where are we? What stairs do we have to go to? Or where there elevators
And it only has
there's two
2
banks.
elevator banks instead of 3.
Yeah.
The other 4.
And some don't go up all the way to the top. You have to take different ones. So that was a little confusing. And I just didn't feel like it was as easy to kind of learn and to get around. And like you said earlier, there's not a track that goes all the way around. It's really more of a there and back, up some stairs, down some stairs. And so that's, not ideal if you're looking to get in a run. The gym was lovely. Peeked in there, didn't work out, but peeked in there. But yeah, and so I don't know. My husband and I came to, I think we prefer the old ships. They just, I don't know. Maybe it's the kind of nautical and like the wood and the dark and it's the ease to get around and all of that. We preferred the Dream to this one, but I will say the food and kind of experiences, the shows and entertainment on the Wish were top notch. I think they probably beat out the Dream. So I don't think you can go wrong on whatever you're getting on.
And that's why I like variety, right? Variety of itineraries, variety of now ship layouts and designs and all that stuff. So yeah, again, can't wait to get on the Wish. I got till
You'll
July,
have fun.
so not too long. Well, hey, Courtney, I know that you're very busy. I appreciate your time here on a Monday. And man, you made the best of a bad situation, but hey, you got bonus days at sea. So
I know. You can't complain about that.
kind of hoping for a hurricane in July.
I know.
I don't think it's gonna happen. It's not hurricane season, but yeah, keep us out there, whatever. But thanks for coming on. It's been a great show. I'm sure everybody's just smiling right along with us. And we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yes. Until next time.
Right. All right. Hey, don't forget today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out for all of your Disney trip planning needs. The agents are standing by right now to help you plan an amazing Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. Check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. That one extra click really does help us out. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to the patrons of the Be Our Guest Podcast. You make all these shows possible. Couldn't do it without you. And our patrons get that bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. And this past week, we talked about those holiday parties that you have in elementary school. I talked about my perspective as a teacher. And when I was a kid, some of the crazy stuff we did in kindergarten. I dressed up like a Kiss character for Halloween. Nobody would be able to do that anymore. But yeah, we had fun with that. So if you want to get on that, come on over, patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Scott and I will be together this Sunday night. It's the live BOGP open line. So if you want to be on the show, we're taking your calls. It's Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Just join us on YouTube or Facebook and give us a call. We'll talk Disney with you. So we'll see you Sunday night. You can also give me a yell on the social media, Instagram and Twitter at Be Our Guest Mike. Talk to you this week. All right, time to get out of here and let you get on with your Monday. So for Courtney down in Marietta, Georgia, I'm Mike here in St. Peters, Missouri. Wishing you a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. That was a good, we could have gone forever on that one.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like there's so many things we didn't even touch on.
I know. That's more about the adult stuff. I mean, there was, like we skipped a lot of dining. We didn't, there's so many. And like, we didn't get to all the shows. I feel bad, but.
Oh, hey. We'll leave that for somebody else.
To an hour because like we only get so much storage for our files like per week. And if I make them too long, then I got to cut it here and cut it there. I'm like, oh my gosh. I try to keep them to 40 minutes, but I was like, we're not cutting this one. This one's too long. This one's great. So I love it. Courtney, I know that you're busy with the family and everything. So
they were bound and determined to interrupt me, but oh well. We managed.
Story
I have the Ask Dad sign.
Story of my life. 100%. I 100% get it. I'm running right now. So I'll take the dog. I take the dog to go to the bathroom immediately.
Yep.
If you ever need anything, just give me a yell. I thank you again.
Always. Yeah, you're welcome. Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.